Welcome back. Today I thought we would dive into this album, and I have two different versions of it here. We will start with this one. This is the album Pathogenic Ocular Dissonance, and it is by the Christian metal band TOURNIQUET. They're kind of a thrash metal, very technical metal, and this album is one of my favorite metal albums of all time. And that is not me just speaking hyperbole either. This is the original release from 1992. And it is on Intense Records. They re-released this in 93 again, and a Future, which is the other version I have here, a re-release. But this here is the tracks, and you can see it is in the style of an eye chart. And there's even some Ishihara plates. The Ishihara plates are used to determine disorders in the eyes, as like color blindness. And there's a picture of the band at the time at least. The track names are very scientific sounding, and it was intentional. So some of them are a mouthful to say, like ruminating virulence and spectrophobic dementia. But this, again, being such a great album and one of my favorites, it is fitting that the idea feels very intricate. Pathogenic ocular dissonance, playing into that theme of the eyes. Ocular is as it pertains to the eyes, and pathogenic is like causing disease or having disease, and dissonance is just being out of harmony and kind of disorder. So together it is basically the disease of disordered eyes, in a sense, a long way of saying spiritual blindness, which so many face, and just relating that to the common idea that we all would know of dealing with blindness and the issues of the eyes. There's another Ishihara plate there. And in here is all of the lyrics. Phantom Limb was one of my favorites. These songs too, what I love about them is that they're just almost in movements. They're very classical-like in that there are bits and pieces, and they all interweave into each other, creating this tapestry of a song. And I just have always kind of loved that, especially when it comes to metal and, outside of the classical realm. Here is the band members in another plate. Ted Kirkpatrick was the drummer and the lone constant member across the years of the band. And sadly, we lost him back in 2022. He was the one who kept the band going. I believe they have attempted to continue on in recent years, but he was the driving force behind things. In fact, this week, I believe, is his heavenly birthday. He passed in mid-August of 2022. Here, Descent into the Maelstrom is an instrumental with just intricate drum work. He had a kit that had like 20 plus pieces, just incredible. And the Skizik's Dilemma was also one of my favorites. It is a 10-minute just opus of a song that just starts out with almost like a demented circus, and there's like a long outro piece. It is very orchestral in nature. But this is like I said, the original version of this. And then I also have this one, which is a reissue that was available in 2001. And there is the band again and all of the tracks. And this one has a couple live performances from the year 2000 that were also added to it. Also, there is a typo. The dissonance is spelled right here, but you can see on the side here it has an E instead of an A, which is just kind of fun. But they released this re-release on Pathogenic Records, which was the imprint that they used in order to re-release it and other music towards the later years. And what I love about this is I actually have Ted Kirkpatrick's autograph here, which, I don't know, I just kind of cherish that. And there is the disc. And you can see the original album artwork right in there, along with some little notes that Ted has made, just remembering some of the way it was recorded and created and the ideas behind creating the song. And then even here, this top, he notes that had a guy in their high school tennis team who was red and green colorblind. And there was a tennis meet at another high school, and the courts were red with green lines. So they had to go to another court in a different school so that he could play, because he could not see where the lines were. And he's relating that to this idea of spiritual blindness and saying, have you ever felt like you can't see the lines? And that's what this album is about, Pathogenic Ocular Dissonance. There is a God who can restore your spiritual vision. And I just love that has just always been the heart of this band and Ted, and even the name Tourniquet was created out of just him being like about God being the tourniquet. He can stop the bleeding. He heals all wounds. But you can see in this picture here the gigantic drum kit that he would play with all the extra cymbals and toms and everything. I also like that on this new cover right here is the original cover that is in the eye. And you can see in here the lyrics are listed again. And then there is some full-page pictures of each of the band members. state, if you haven't listened to this band or this album in particular, seek it out. It is incredible. And as intense as the lyrics may be and almost over the top in their scientific nature, it's all for a reason. And if you really dive into it, it's very well done. But that is these for you. In remembrance of Ted and just this amazing metal album from the early 90s that continues to this day to be amazing to listen to. I pull it out at least a couple times every year to just revisit it. And I thank you for joining me today, and I hope you enjoyed that. And I'll see you in the next dive.